Hey, frozen caramel slice. Do you know what happened the last time the US Fed, which is the American Central Bank, the last time they held interest rates? Do you know what happened to crypto? Crypto pumped. I'm going to show you right now. Do you see here? This orange line is the US interest rate. I constructed this chart in a nice, visual, clean, pure format for you, my sweet baby dolls, to have a look at this. If you go vertically up, which is the opposite of down, you will see that during this period of holding, crypto went up, and that was a beauty. Do you know what they just did recently? They held rates, and you're asking why? Why aren't we going up? And I say, keep your back straight, slippers on, and sit down. Unfortunately, we need to go up when the coast is clear. This is what markets do. I've been in the game over a decade. I'll tell you something right now. It doesn't move the way you want it to move. It pays you with time. What does that mean? You say to yourself, you say, la, 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 I'm going to block all the noise out. See you in 90 days. That's the peanut brain approach. If you have that approach, I promise you, you'll find that you come out ahead. Don't believe me? Try it. Try it. Close your eyes, close your ears, and say, I'm just going to see where we are 90 days from now. Most likely, we're up. Now, we can go down. Anything can come out. But if you take this approach, you will always be better off mentally than the person who's praying for it to go up in the next 15 minutes, tomorrow, this weekend. The last time they held interest rates, they did it like this fashion, was in 2019. The literal bottom of the crypto bear market. As soon as they held, but you're going to go down here. Do you see here, friends? I'm going to show you the actual time frame I'm on. M is monthly. These are monthly candles. So look at this. Even though they held rates here, January and February, the rates had been held, we were only starting to go up. We did not actually get the pump. If you want the pump, it took a few months. Do you want to know what's funny? You're going to start laughing. As soon as I started cutting rates, that was the actual end of it. So this was what happened. Bitcoin went up. Now, I understand, very controversial. People are going to say it was because of the plus token Ponzi. I don't care. The chart doesn't care about that. We went up. They held rates. Then they started cutting rates, this part, and guess what? We start going down. Do you see how everybody's a scammer? This is how markets move. In markets, there are always a pocket of people who are insiders who have the information before you. It's rare that me and you as outsiders ever get a chance with this. Does this mean we give up? Nope. Does this mean we quit? Nope. Does this mean we can't win? No, it doesn't. We can win. I'm just telling you, if you're constantly playing this short-term game, you're constantly fighting against people with more information than you. On average, with no system. So as you can see, as soon as they started cutting rates, something was coming down, and then the zombie virus happened and they had to cut rates even more. But you know, even without the zombie virus, it was happening anyway. Like they had to cut it anyway. So this holding rates part was the actual pivot. So there's a one. Step one equals pivot, hold rates, right? Step two equals U-turn, cut rates. I remember telling you specifically a couple of months ago, we had to wait until the news comes so we can dissect the information and the crowd sentiment. I'm looking around Twitter. I look left, I look right, I look up, down, under my bed, inside my underpants. I look everywhere, and I can tell you right now, I'm not seeing anybody on crypto Twitter or YouTube with a smile on their face. Everybody is depressed. Nobody cares about the US Fed. No one's talking about macro. No one's talking about interest rates. No one cares. This is good, by the way. This is very good. No one's talking about the Fed holding rates. This is beautiful. I'm literally the only person talking about this, which is great. I'm giving you information. So this is valuable. I was going to talk about this anyway, but I'm here relaying this to you. So we could be in another parallel world where everybody's talking about it. All the big influencers are constantly talking about it. If they are, that's probably bad news. And we're probably going to have deal with some red candles. But we're not. We're not in that world. The timeline that we're on is, your friend Sammy here is just talking about it, and no one else is. because everyone's too depressed. We're talking about the SEC. We're talking about BlackRock. Other news are just in there. It's almost like there's a circle of just news. You have all these dots represent the potential news. And it's just like you're thinking, okay, which one are the top 2 that are going to dominate the news week for the next 2 weeks? It could be any of these. So you don't know which one you're going to be a part of. So that's why playing this news, it's not really great, friends, because you shouldn't do it. You already know not to do it. This is a fool's game. Because most of the time, the news you think is bad is already priced in, and you just screw it up. So the good news that's good, no one's actually buying. What's happening? Crypto, Bitcoin up here, it's still a red monthly candle. This is a monthly candle. So do you remember, friends, I even have my videos talking to you about green candles make you smarter. I've spoken to you about how the crowd behaves. Time and time again, I've told you 99% of everybody's emotions in crypto that you come across, you don't even need to speak to them. That man, that woman, that pet duck, you don't need to talk to them. Just look at the monthly candle color. It'll tell you exactly how we're feeling. This is me too. I feel this too. This is a double kick in the nuts. 2 red candles. Yes, the candles aren't giant. It doesn't matter. They're 2 red candles. We're going down. Because humans, our psychology, we can only extrapolate the future as a linear interpolation of the past, which means if things are going down, we're like, oh, you're hurting, you're hurting, you're hurting. We just keep drawing the down line forever. On the plus side, when things are going up, we're like, you're never going to stop. Isn't that true? But markets don't move like that. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. This is it. It's very hard for us to predict turns. So this is the beautiful part now. We get to see this. There was a rate hold here when the Fed held the rates, and then crypto started going up. You know, you probably want to see what happened in the previous cycle, because when we're looking just at the 2019 cycle, it's not too similar to the one we're at now. We're more similar to like this. And unfortunately, we had a different rate cycle back then. Rates were coming off the floor, right? And they'll rush. So if you look on the left-hand side, you'll be able to see the interest rate scale. You see this is 0 to 0.5, 0.5%. Yeah, it was very, very, very low. So rates were still basically 0. They had been cut. So they were going up and up and up. They never actually held until the very end. So this isn't even a hold. They just left it here. They just started doing QE. So these are different times. All we can go off is this one event before. Now, this is why there's some juicy edge. This is why I'm telling you, please keep your back straight. Please perk your ears up. Just remember, at the end of the day, we're just guessing. But we only have one proper sample size here. So this is not something to bet the farm on, but I like this. This is why nobody in crypto is talking about it. This is why none of the influencers are really focusing on this. It's because it's only happened once. So if you want to know what it was like to go back 8 to 10 years ago, let's go back, me and you, we travel in a time machine and we're like, oh, I wonder what it was like to be around the Bitcoin halvening. Well, you only had a sample size of 1 and it worked again. That's why you got big returns off that Bitcoin halvening. Huge returns. Phenomenal. So you remember the first Bitcoin halvening, and here's the second one. You got 100x. From $200 here, this is exactly from $200 up to 20K, you get your 100x. That was a second Bitcoin halvening. And if you're there, you don't know what's going to happen. All you know is that you go, hey, this thing might be a Ponzi going to zero. Who even is Satoshi anyway? Does he have fluffy slippers? I'd like to see them. You sit here and you're wondering, well, what about this Bitcoin halvening coming up? All you have is a sample size of 1, which was this Bitcoin halvening, which happened here. And it went up afterwards. So that's all you have, blind faith. Think about it. Do you own any coins right now where you're thinking of blind faith? You know, you need some faith in this game. If you got none, you're never going to make it. Faith, conviction, same thing. So that first Bitcoin halvening was all you had to go off, and boy, did it pay big. It paid big in this one, you know? So now we're looking at this rate cycle. So we have rates that are being held. And if you ask anybody else, I've listened to a couple of other influencers and I already know what they're saying. They are basically regurgitating the US Fed's notes, which I'm very surprised. I'm like, man, you should know better than to just regurgitate the central bank's notes. And then I realized, oh, I'm the only idiot who actually traded these markets. I know how much of a bunch of filthy liars these people are. And you're probably wondering, what am I talking about? Well, if you go back and you have a look at what the Fed minutes were, okay, you have Jay Powell, the homie Jay Powell, who is Sorry, he's part of the insider cartel, right? He could be an alien himself. I'm telling you right now, do not trust this guy. They put, just to let you know, friends, just to let you know, okay, the central bank cartel, they put him in because he has a good public face, okay? The way he talks like an everyday man. He talks like, he doesn't talk like he's some over-empowering guy. This is by choice. If you go back and read all the history books about central banks, you will not be surprised. This is just the face. This is not the actual inner workings. So don't believe anything they say. I know it's hard when you see him talking. He looks like an everyday man. He's like, oh, golly gee, I've got memes about me, right? It's all a bunch of baloney. Don't be fooled, okay? Don't be fooled. So if you go here and you go check it, what happened was they held rates, but because the stock market is up, they had bluffing words. So if you see here, they said, well, they held rates. They said the dot plot was the pain. So this is why if you want to speak to if you go talk to all the YouTube influencers and crypto Twitter, everybody's just going to say, oh man, it's because of the dot plot. But really, friends, I promise you right now, we already know the secret, right? Between me and you, it has nothing to do with the dot plots. It's because there's 2 red monthly candles still. Okay, so they'll pretend it's about the dot plots, but what they're doing is you already know from watching me, like, subscribe, and all friends, you know, when there's red candles, we notice the red candle first, and then we latch on the narrative. The narrative comes after. You say, oh, market's down. Okay, what did they say that was bad? Market's up. What did they say was good? That's how we think. That's not the way to think to make money in this. So what they said was they basically had the dot plots. So even though they held rates at 5.25%, their expectations for the dots were 5.6% by the end of the year. You're like, what? That's bluffing. It's all poo-poo talk. It's all bluffing. Don't believe it. Because at the end of the day, they are just bluffing the markets. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you the S&P 500. This is why they're doing it. The S&P 500 is on an absolute tear, aka T. It is on a tear upwards. This thing is huge. It is only down 8% off the top. So this is the thing. They've got interest rates low. So interest rates were spiking up. Now they're coming down like a rock. That's the interest rates going down. Sorry, there's inflation rates going down. They've got interest rates going up. Now they've hit the point, but the stock market's up here. So all they want to do is make sure no one feels like a degen this year. That's what their job is. And I promise you, those exact words. They just don't want anybody buying JPEGs, dog coins, and having a mania again. I promise you that. That's what they actually watch. They don't want exuberance. They don't want irrational behavior. They don't want people to feel confident yet. Because they had the reset last year. They want to keep inflation, the CPI numbers down. They're watching this market. This is only down 8%, the S&P 500. That's why they've said these words of, oh, we can put rates even higher. It's bluffing. It's bluffing. Let me tell you something. If the S&P 500 was down here, you know what they would be saying? They would be saying, we're done with rates. We're going to go data dependent. And if we ever need to stimulate, we're going to match inflation down. I promise you, that's what their words would have been. But it would have been the same interest rate. But because the stock market is up, they have different words. This is how they play it. They have a plan A and a plan B based off the stock market. And if you want to get conspiratorial, which wink, wink, nudge, not even really, they have their own ways of manipulating the market where they want to go. Okay. How do I know this? XRP. I've already made videos on this. I learned in XRP, what they do is they will train the market to react to news one way. They did it in XRP. It came out in the court case. They made some comments. Brad Garlic Breath said, hey, slug the market when we release good news to let everyone know. And they did. Every time they released some good news, they'd slug it upwards. And everybody started to get trained to believing that was what the market was reacting to. Well, it's the same thing with here. The Fed owns a lot of bonds. They got a lot of big friends and big players. They know what they have to do with the data manipulation to send the market one way, just to give it a push, just to do something. Can I prove it? No, I can't. There's no blockchain. But it doesn't take a dummy to figure it out. If you were in charge of the biggest economy on earth, the most powerful country we've ever seen, you would do this to keep everybody in control. You have to do this. You have to. It's the future online. If you screw this up, everything goes to zero. So you can't screw it up. So that's this BS rate talk, means nothing. Okay. So at the end of the day, we're looking at Bitcoin and the rates now. So you know their bluff talk is BS. That's what everyone's talking about. So if the rates actually just go sideways, perhaps we get a nice, juicy continuation upwards and we get some friendship along the line. That's what we're all hoping that happens. Okay, because the last time this happened, we got it too. And then, I mean, it would be kind of crazy if when they stopped cutting, if they stopped the rate holds and they moved to cuts, it would be pretty shocking if like the crypto after going up starts coming down, because it would be following exactly what happened in the past before. So remember, the U-turn is actually the bearish one, just to let you know. Just always got to always keep it in our mind, friends. Don't believe their BS narrative, because I don't think it's going to come to us easy. I made a video about this before. Got to tell you again. It's very possible that when they start to cut, people, because the meme is out there, people will say to them, hey, Mr. Fed, whenever you guys cut, the economy is slowing down. There's a 90% chance. They're not going to say that to us. Jay Powell is not going to tell me and you, geez, the economy is really trash. That's why we're cutting. They're not going to say that, because they always lie. Instead, what they're going to say is they're going to say, inflation is coming down so fast, we have to cut. We are doing our job so well, we have to put the rates down. That's what they're going to say. So then it's going to be up to me and you to decide how much do we want to take them for their word. I've already gone through this, and don't worry, we're going to be there every step of the way. We're going to do this in tranches, and it's all going to depend on the Bitcoin and Ethereum price. Because, you know, if Bitcoin is still 25K and they're doing this, I'm not worried. But if they start cutting rates and Bitcoin's up to like 55K, different story. And we've never had a retracement down. Now we're talking. So it depends on the price that we're going to end up with. But hey, good thing for us, fingers crossed, no one's talking about this very quiet rate hold. No one really knows what's coming for crypto, but we know. And you know what else we know? We're going to be friends forever. Like, subscribe, or button, or catch you in the next one.